The board table that we still use in the boardroom here was with us from the beginning when we set up our first office.
This table has a very long and storied history, and I'm sorry I didn't carve my initials in, because I never dreamed I would be here still today sitting around this table.
What happened around that table, that beautiful table that we began sitting around 15 years ago, is developed into what we know now as Inverness Village. So that table has great memories for me.
It was interesting how we each found the one spot that we sat in each time we met, and Dick Horkey was up here and Bob Linacher was down there, and each had our spot at the table.
Well, I can just remember attending the various board meetings that where I've been involved around this thing, and a lot of choices and decisions were made by the people that gathered here.
There was one time when we spread the table out with all of the samples of wallpaper and paint colors, and we sat there and we made all these major decisions about what the chairs were going to look like and what every piece of furniture, and it was just amazing to think that the 10 of us could sit here and really plan for 400 or 500 people in the future.
When we first started meeting, which was actually 15 years ago, we had a board meeting. Bob Linacher selected his board.
Here we were, a group of friends, mainly people who knew each other ahead of time. And we met at least once a month for 5 years. And the thing that I remember with the greatest pleasure is that in 5 years we had a lot of very difficult discussions, because you can imagine we had a lot of serious problems to solve. We had this group of people who were strong-minded people, capable people, lots of business experience. We had differences of opinion, but in 5 years, there was never a raised voice in a board meeting.
If that table could talk, it would tell you a story of a magnificent journey from a concept and idea that Dorothy Linacher, Bob Linacher, our chairman's wife, first had.
The visionary was my first wife, who came up with the idea, asked me if I would work on it. And she also selected this piece of property and said, "This, I think, Bob, would make a very good place for Inverness Village."
10 years ago, I was just honored to become one of the founding members of the board. What I envisioned then, I didn't really know what was going to happen. But I knew this was one of the first places to develop it in this part of the country.
It has exceeded the expectations because it has turned out to be more of a community, which is what we envisioned to begin with, but far more of a community, a feeling of love and respect between the residents who are here.
My expectations have been surpassed in almost everything. I was amazed of the buy-in that residents have toward understanding that regular, vigorous physical activity is the cornerstone of health and the key to longevity, because our longevity is unbelievable. Here we have those in their 90s and up into their hundreds who are using our fitness center, who are walking on our trails, who are staying active, not only physically, but they're doing things with their mind here.
They wanted to create a place people wanted to come, not had to, and that intrigued me, to put in a full fitness center and create grounds that lended themselves to activity. They were far ahead of their time. And so for me, to be able to come and see that vision, be that foundation, and then as a community take it to the next level and exceed all of their expectations, and have to create an environment where we had to expand our fitness programming and our physical programming and our wellness opportunities, that has been such a treasure to see play out in the last decade.
It's been revolutionary to see the transition of people once they get here, and those measurements even 10 years later.
They're so busy out here doing things, helping with projects, volunteering out in the community, and they love each other.
When I came here, it was still all under construction. I remember the first resident that moved in out here, and I remember the first housekeepers when we first got started. In the 10 years here at Inverness Village, the most thing that has really inspired me was just the fellowship here. It's more of a family oriented, and that's how they make you feel here. And it just filters on down. I mean, not only from the residents to the employees, but from one employee to the next. It's just one big family here.
Sometimes I might have a bad day, but once I get here, I'm okay. Once I see my residents and see they smile and stuff. Well, it ain't no other place that I'd rather be, in the last 10 years.
When I think about the fact that when we opened, the construction really wasn't even complete. We only had a handful of residents, and it was so much different than it is today. And to think that in 10 years' time, we have actually achieved 100% occupancy. We have received our CARF accreditation. We have received our EAGLE accreditation. We have developed a wellness program that is second to none. The family has grown. That spirit of the people who founded the community that set that standard for us was already high in the beginning. And I think what amazes me is that we continue not only to meet that standard of excellence, but we just continue to get better.
I suppose the greatest pride that I might have in the development of Inverness Village was making a dream come true.
I think for me, getting to know the founders, what an awesome thing that is. Most organizations, they have to look in their history books to visit the words of those who dreamed their organization into existence. Here, our dreamers are still walking around. And that's an awesome thing to get to know them, to get to hear why they thought about building Inverness, what their hopes and aspirations were for building a vibrant community where people could come and live and enjoy life and continue to dream, and then we get the awesome responsibility to help them anticipate more. It's just wonderful.